Yeah,
I
I
think
mean
if
it's the
Nashville
off
gets
season.
yeah, but if Nashville gets it, it gets Duchesne, it's going to be certainly interesting to see how they go from there. Because I know they definitely want to try and reload because they felt they hit a wall and that they aren't closer to a cup than they were back in 2017.
Yeah.
And they've
Um,
been desperately trying to find that second line center because they had no centers against Pittsburgh. But
yeah, that's
moving
true.
on. Well, I guess, do we have anything else to say?
Um,
Um, Nothing about this
Oh
trade.
God, yeah. This is going to
yeah,
be a long
that's
episode. This is going to be a long episode. It's going to be a
yeah,
pain to edit.
for something that's
Yeah,
like such a small trade as that, I guess it's really there's not really much to go into. It's more of like what could possibly come after, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the
I'm good to
hypothetical.
move. I'm good to
Yeah, it's
move
the
on to the next one.
hypotheticals are the ones on these that like these lower level trades that make them take a while to talk about. I think,
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
okay, moving on. Yeah,
moving
let's
on.
get to the top.
Again with the Colorado Avalanche, they acquire Andre Burakovsky from the Washington Capitals in exchange for Scott Kuzmiak.
Cosmic
Kosmiak?
Cosmic
Kosmachuk. Okay, I apologize. Um, and they Capitals also get a 2020 second round pick and a 2020 third round pick. So Colorado pretty much just gets the signing rights for Burakovsky, and I assume they are going to sign him if they did in fact make the trade for him.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well. I mean, expecting Colorado and Washington to not make a trade is like expecting it to not snow in December. I maybe there's a better analogy out there, but like Colorado, Colorado and Washington have been conjoined to the hip for trades for as long as I can remember. As far as I know, it pretty much started with them trading Semyon Varlamov to the Avalanche, and then they went back to that well again when it came to trading Grubauer. So
Hmm.
essentially, all of Washington's cast-offs that they can't sign or don't want, they just give them to Colorado.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I guess that's that's kind of true.
yeah, Burkov. Sorry to interject, Will.
Yeah, it's okay.
Burakovsky. Burakovsky is he. You can see the talent there. I mean, he even showed it in his first couple of years in the league. I mean, his 30 point guy definitely was more than capable of making the step to be a 40 point player. But I just don't know if Washington's like style of hockey was right for him. I because and it didn't help that the emergence of Verana did that and Tom Wilson kind of pushed him down the depth chart.
Hmm.
And at times he was a fourth liner, and I mean he is much better than a fourth liner. He's I just think him getting a chance in Colorado where he'll be more of a top six, a more consistent second line player, and most likely being centered by someone I guess like Kerfoot or Jost. I definitely think there is potential for him to boom and break out.
Burakovsky was a guy that I was. I always go back and say something about the Devils just because I'm a Devils fan, but he was one of the guys that I was hoping that the Devils would also go out and try to target. The Devils really needed another guy to, stick on the wing. The Devils now have a lot of depth at center. So Burakovsky was a guy that I was hoping that they would target maybe to be on the wing. He is a guy that there's a decent following, I guess you could say, in the advanced statistic community that think that he still has some room to grow. I think that he was really buried down in the Capitals, depth chart, like Colin, you were saying about that. I think that in Colorado, he probably will prosper a little bit more. I don't remember exactly where Washington was playing him during the season, but if they had him on the fourth line, that almost kind of reminds me a little bit of when the Devils traded for Kyle Palmieri, a guy that played really well towards the end of the season before he was traded, and then also in the playoffs was a big goal scorer. And now look at where he is with the Devils. So maybe the change of scenery and a little bit higher of a lineup slot on Colorado will really help him out. I think it was a I won't say that it was a fair return necessarily what Colorado gave back. I think it was a little bit of an overpay to an extent. I don't think that second and third round pick for what Burakovsky is currently is, worth giving up. Maybe the third round pick and the player. I mean, Kosmachuk he doesn't look like he's going to be anything good. 25-year-old guy
No,
who's been playing in the AHL.
no, he,
He's like a replacement level guy or whatever, maybe a third or fourth line
he was on
player.
this. Yeah, I think he originally drafted by Winnipeg or Atlanta. He was one of those guys who was always talked about as like he had like big level junior league production. And he was just like, oh, this kid's gonna be good. Watch out for him, and then he never became good.
Yeah, I'm just looking right now, and he had with the Gulf Storm of the OHL in 2013, 2014, he had 101 points. And when you look at that, I mean, I'm pretty sure that was his either +1 or +2 season in the minors because he was drafted in 2012. So that would put him, that was his +2 year. That's like crazy production. And then to go into other leagues and not really be able to do much is, a little bit shocking when you see something like that. So, I mean, I don't see it being a big portion of this. It's really just the Capitals getting the draft picks and stuff like that. So,
I don't know. I mean, they've been able to turn guys who were thought of as replacement level players and actually make them into something good. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I can see it from both sides. I mean, Washington cap strapped a little bit, having to re-sign a restricted free agent who really hasn't done much, and now you give him away for picks. Colorado, up and coming young core team, picking up a guy who is still young, who probably will be able to break out playing higher up the lineup and stuff. So I see it as good from both sides, and that's really all I got on this one.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not really much else to say from at least in my own take. I mean, I don't know if Trevor has anything else to say.
Yeah, I really like Burakovsky going to Colorado. I think it might be a fresh start for him, and he could strive on an up and coming Colorado team. And pretty much, I say an even trade here.
Yeah.
Both teams get something they can use. So
Yeah.
I guess we can move along. Colin Miller is going to the Buffalo Sabres from Vegas, and what Vegas gets in return is a 2021 second and a 2022 fifth. So once again, Vegas chipping away, trying to get themselves back down to the cap. And I believe that's about it. That's all you can really say here.
Well, it's no longer Miller time in Vegas. That's on
There it is.
Colin Miller, I know, like, some Boston fans were kind of irritated that they gave up Colin Miller in the expansion draft. The dude's a really good offensive defenseman in my opinion. I mean, he's a guy who he's got a good shot. He's got some decent hockey sense. He's got a physical edge to his game. He can produce on the power play as well. Takes some dumb penalties. Takes dumb penalties as well. And I mean, he's also never. Another knock against him is that he's also never, like, if you look at a lot of his like quality of competition and teammate stats, like, he's never really been paired with like, well, excellent teammates, or he's never played against good competition. So you could also look at that argument that maybe he's only producing because he's getting weaker matchups.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is a good pickup for Buffalo as well. And they didn't even give up a pick in the immediate draft. They gave up like 2 picks in like a year and 2 years out from now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least from where this upcoming draft is going to be. I think Buffalo comes out better here than what they were.
Yeah, I mean, I like this trade for Buffalo. I think that they're getting a pretty good defenseman in Miller. I Once again, this is a guy that I wanted the Devils to go out and get another good
Yeah,
defenseman to
Will's
throw
like,
onto their roster. But these are like all the guys that I'm like looking at all of these players. And I'm like, I wish that the Devils could go out and get like, one or two of these guys. I really want them to push to, keep Hall and everything like that. So it would have been nice if they could have gone out and gotten some of these guys. I mean, Miller for Buffalo, I think he's going to be good. I think it's a good trade for them. I've seen some speculation that maybe this will make Ristolainen expendable. I could see it. I've been seeing rumors that they want to, get rid of Ristolainen. So, well, I guess we'll see what happens there because of that side of their defense is kind of now a little bit loaded up, I
Mhm.
guess you could say. So
Yeah,
I think it was a fair return. I mean, Vegas gets the cap space. This was a trade that got them under the cap ceiling, if I remember correctly. They have a little bit of space, then they can throw Clarkson onto long-term IR, free up a little bit more room, or give them the cap credit, however you call it. I forget the exact wording for it,
it's
but
it's
but
like
um,
they
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, it's like they as far as I know about it from learning about the the terms, at least from like cap friendly,
Hmm, hmm.
you're allowed to. It doesn't take it off the books. It's as much as it allows you to exceed the limit, and
Okay.
then that's actually and apparently that's technically a worse situation to be in rather than just getting rid of the contract completely.
Yeah, I think I remember something where um, the this the performance bonuses or something like that, they can get pushed over to the next year if you're over the cap with a long-term IR contract or something like almost like a cap penalty the next year. I forget exactly how it works. I'd have to really
It's
look more into it, but
and
um,
and
yeah,
it's yeah. So well, to elaborate further on, I guess, call the Buffalo side of things. Yeah, that right side's now pretty good. I mean, Bogosian isn't that great, and he's overpaid for what he is, but he's a serviceable defenseman when healthy.
yeah,
Uh,
I
but
agree.
Ristolainen gets played way too much. He's very off. He's like a worse Brent Burns, very much offensively minded and
Hmm.
horrible defensively, but he doesn't even have half the offensive talent that Burns does.
Yeah.
Uh, but then and then you've got Brendan Montour, who I was hoping, who as a Pens fan, I had heard we were interested in him. I was so hoping we pick him up because a right side of Schultz, Montour, and Letang would have been mwah.
Yeah.
And uh, yeah, I really like Montour. I think he's a good, very good offensive defenseman. Not real, got a great shot. Got a great shot, good passing. I think good skater. I think Buffalo made out good in the trade that they did to get Montour, and now they've picked up Colin Miller as well. They're both good. Uh, and so they've definitely added up a lot on that right side, but that left side is still pretty weak because if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, their second left-handed defenseman is still Jake McCabe.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah,
not that great, I guess, but I mean, I guess we're kind of, I know Colin and I are in agreement basically that we like this trade from Buffalo's side, and Vegas, we understand with the cap space and everything that they need it. So I guess that's really it from the two of us. Trevor, I feel like we're always like, jumping the gun and leaving you a little bit
yeah, you're
behind,
the
and
host. You're the host.
yeah, come on. I want in the next trade. I think we're gonna give you the floor to speak first, if you want. So if you have anything to add
um,
in, go ahead.
no, I mean I'm just agreeing with both of you guys pretty much on all of these trades. Buffalo gets a good defenseman in Colin Miller to help them out, and Vegas, just trying to relieve themselves of that cap space. So, and they get themselves a second and a fifth, and the fifth, it's pretty much an amp, but who knows what that second round pick can get you in 2021. Speaking of the Pittsburgh Penguins, last night, June 29th,